It is Kyle Henderson, a Bama football on YouTube. Could I get a roll tide? Inside the comment box, it is Feelgood Friday today right here on Bama football on YouTube. I hope that you have had a fantastic week. I hope that all your dreams and aspirations come true this weekend. And thanks for joining me today right here on Bama football on YouTube. Today on the show, middle of May, here's what's trending in the world of college football overall headlines. There's a new Tennessee bill, House Bill 194, that's going to skirt around whatever the House settlement outcome is. Meaning, okay, that Tennessee doesn't have to follow the same NIL rules that the House settlement mandates. Basically, anybody in Tennessee could do whatever they want now. Which is going to be just, it seems like Tennessee continues to do things that create more controversy within college athletics. So, look, this benefits Tennessee. They don't have to follow the rules. And it's going to be interesting if, like, the House settlement is basically making rules for the NCAA to follow, and then Tennessee doesn't have to follow those rules. What the hell is going to happen? Yo, Coach Saban, save something. And I don't think anybody is against players getting paid. But there was, like, supposed to be specific rules that were set in place by the House settlement. I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch. So if you want to read more on it, look up Tennessee House Bill 194. And just to kind of give you the early kind of taste, this is from Outkick. Trey Wallace says, the state of Tennessee just delivered an early Christmas present to athletes playing for schools with the NIL-based law. Pretty much. Schools don't have to abide by any rules that come from the House settlement or any new rules from the NCAA to create. This one will be fascinating. And then Matt Winter, who was subtweeted, Mitt Winter, rather, says Tennessee has the most athlete-friendly NIL law. It appears to prohibit all House settlement limits on NIL comp salaries, collective restrictions, unless they're part of a federal law, valid court order, or determined by exempt from antitrust. This is wild. So, look, in terms of, like, competitive advantages and things like that, and I think they're trying to figure out how to put some guardrails. Yo, Tennessee is saying, nope, we don't have to follow any of those rules, and we can still play in the SEC, we can still play in college football, and we can do our own thing. So until something like drastically happens and things are, I don't even know what comes from this. I mean, this is just out. Tennessee House Bill 194. Tennessee's basically setting themselves into like a new league. I'm serious. There's like a new league where they're just like, well, we don't have to follow any rules. And that's that. Is Tennessee the first program to, like, pull out of the NCAA? Interesting to think about. Did you hear what I just said? Is Tennessee the first team to kind of start to make the movement to jump out? Could be the case. Also on the show today, how long will Nate Oats be at Alabama basketball? It's worth thinking about because his trajectory is flying through the roof. And I know it's scary to think about not having Nate Oats, but the next round recently had him on, and they asked him about this. Well, I'll get your feedback inside the comment box. You don't want to lose Nate Oats. Did you see this? Lincoln Riley, we'll talk about this a little bit on the show today. Lincoln Riley, USC, he's making almost $12 million. 12. I think this is one of the highest in college football, period. Why did Coach Saban retire? I'll ask you guys for that. We'll have some fun with it. Cookie all day. What's up, man? I'll give my shout outs in just a minute. And Kirby Smart doesn't want freshmen making more money than seniors. Okay, don't tell that to Ryan Williams last year. And a new quarterback offer is in. So all that and more today on Bama Football on YouTube. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me on the show today. You know, I think when you look to kind of NIL and kind of the parameters and stuff like that, because there's no rules on how much these players could get paid when they first get here, and now that we're into this kind of pay for play, it might create a toxic situation inside the locker room when, you know, these freshmen get here and they're making all this money, and let's say a senior or a junior who's been here kind of a little bit before NIL is what it's been is making hand over fist money that the senior is not making. For example, let's just take a player, I don't know, player A, who's a freshman who just got paid, I don't know what, $4 to $5 million to come to the university, and you have a senior who's been here who's making like, I don't know, $100,000 maybe. I don't know if that creates some sort of toxicity in the locker room, but I could only imagine. I mean, these are young kids. They always say you're not supposed to talk about like how much you make, but I mean, come on, they're kids, right? Under 20. I mean, yeah, you're grown after 18. I understand that, but I'm saying like sharing information about, yo, I'm making this. Look at my paycheck here. And then I think it might create more toxicity in the locker room. I have no idea. But Kirby Smart recently said this, and I'll go full screen so you can read it. And this is a tweet from On3. Kirby Smart recently on NIL. I just want to be able to have freshmen come in and not make more than a senior. And I like the other sports to be able to still survive, right? The Olympic sports. You know, we're on the brink of probably 2 years away from a lot of schools cutting sports. Or, I mean, I don't know if sports will ever be cut like these Olympic sports. I think that they'll just be funded by, I think they'll be sponsored sports. You see what I'm saying? I think they'll be sponsored sports. So like softball, the softball team will be sponsored by like Mercedes-Benz. And all those players will get a Mercedes-Benz, and, you know, Mercedes will figure out a way to pay for Alabama softball, for example, to still exist. All right, let's see who's up inside the comment box today. Appreciate you guys being here. Good morning to you. Thank you very much. Alyssa, what's up? Perfect attendance as usual. Good to see you. Ron Self, good morning. What's up, Twan? Coming to us from Naples. CJ, what's going on, man? Chris from New Jersey, good morning to you. Anita Waters, what's up? Chris from New Jersey, good morning, man. Larry Large, what's up, bro? Happy Friday. Alabama Renegade, always checking in. Kimberly Harmon, good morning to you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for being here. Kaylin Childress, good morning to you as well. Melon Jesus, what's up? Sean Dilly, Robert Bradley, thank you so much for joining us today. Patriot Life, congratulations on scooping up that hat yesterday. Got your email, of course. Brady G, what's up? Antoine, my boy, man, what's up? Good to see you. Jamie Bird, good morning to you. Patrick Spencer, appreciate it, man. Josh Miller. Got a good crew up in the house for Feelgood Friday. Anybody have some Bama haters in here? What's up, Bama hater? Good to see you, bro. Sean Lilly. Anybody have any good weekend plans? Mike G, what's up, Mike? Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for joining the show. Nick Harden, what's up, man? And Kaylin DeBoss. And Darius Burns, what's up, man? Matthew Newton, good to see you. Nicole, I love the shout-outs. So let me ask you right now. I mean, because there's no way to I don't know if I necessarily agree with this right now with what Kirby Smart is saying. And I don't know if this was the exact, I mean, it's a quote right here, but saying that freshmen should make more than seniors, that's just going to be kind of the world that we live in right now. Like, you got to think that all these freshmen for Alabama, and I get it, probably the sophomore class because they were, you know, more privy to the NIL. I would imagine that sophomore class is making a ton of cash compared to seniors. That's just the way it is. They figured it out. And look, the schools that aren't broke are able to pay the players. Patriot Life in with 5 fan funderships, taking care of the fam as usual. Mike G, Latoya, Chance, Chad. You guys are all taken care of by Patriot Life. I don't know. Who knows? But there's no guardrails on it, and there's no like salary caps on any of this, so people can make whatever. I don't know. Oh, here's what we're raffling today. I love this one. This is our Friday raffle. $10 to get into the raffle for this camo Alabama shirt. This is Team Fanatics. This is kind of our like continuation of our camo raffle. I like this. Perfect for the summertime. Show off the guns a little bit if you got them. Sun's out, guns out. So to get into the raffle, Bama underscore YouTube, Cash App Bama YouTube. We'll start the raffle at 10, and we'll have fun with it. So, and we'll carry it in probably over the weekend. But this is what we're working with today. This is tight because I like anything with like the United States flag on the sleeve, like the green shirt that I wear. Patriot life, yeah, man. So once you get hot on the pinwheel, you get hot, man. Ask Alex or Chad. So this is what we're working with. So to get into the raffle again, Bama underscore YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube. I'll show this a couple times during the show today. I asked earlier. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Nate Oats will be here for more or less than 3 seasons? More or less than 3 seasons. I'm asking you, will Nate Oats be here more or less than 3 more seasons? More Bama Productions saying, what's up, Bama Productions? So the next round, who has an incredible, brand, and they've built themselves up really good. Recently, they have a great interview with Nate Oats. I recommend that you guys go check it out. Says Nate Oats to the next round live. This is a tweet from Mike Rodak. Says, I like studying NBA basketball. Not sure I'd want to coach there with all that. On some level, it would be appealing, right, to go against the best in the world. But the schedule with 82 games with my daughters still being in high school, I don't know I'd like that. Yeah, and look, Patriot Life in with Superman. Appreciate you, bro. That's probably it. I think, there's a couple things. I don't know if other places would be able to lure Nate Oats away, and I'm talking about programs because Alabama really takes care of him. He's got kids. If you have kids, you understand the dynamics of just like picking up your kids and moving, and I get it. That's kind of the way of the world for college coaches. But he's got a really good thing here at Alabama, and I think Alabama has continued to pour into the basketball program. I know a lot of people want to see a new arena, but it's more than a new arena now. That money is going to the players now, right? You're not going to get a new arena. You're going to get continued high-level players, and that's how it's going to work. You're going to get a new practice facility, which, by the way, is already in construction, and it's going to be state-of-the-art, as you would imagine. I mean, who knows how nice that thing's going to be. I think once, his kids are grown, I would say, Nate's young. He's, what is he, 50? So a couple more years, I think he'll be at Alabama. And there's no other place, I think, in college athletics that Nate would go, because I think it'd probably be more lateral. And I know this is crazy what I'm about to say. Like, even like the Kentucky talks, it's lateral. With what you can do in the NIL and all of the lack of guardrails, like if you have a huge cash balance at the university, it's lateral. And I know Kentucky fans probably really upset and be like, we're still better than Alabama basketball. Maybe throughout the course of history, but recently, no. Alabama's above Kentucky basketball. I'm going to say it again. Alabama basketball is above Kentucky basketball, period. Is there anyone, honestly, when you see the two teams play, look, and I get it. Kentucky is Kentucky, but Alabama now is Alabama. And that's it. So going to Kentucky, yeah, historically, sure. Not now. Where else? North Carolina? Sure. From like a historical standpoint, but not, Bama's ahead of those teams now from a basketball standpoint, and it's all evened out now because you can get top-end players. Plus, look who Alabama has coming in. You see this yesterday? Desmond Claude. He'll be coming in on Sunday evening as a transfer to look at Alabama basketball. You're talking about a combo guard, right, from USC. Nate Oats said that they could still have a couple spots open. I think they have one more spot open. This would be a hell of an addition. Chad Kennedy, I got you, bro. Appreciate it, man. For the raffle. This dude would be a hell of a land. And Cookie All Day, I don't think I gave you a shout out, bro. Cookie All Day, I appreciate you being here. Ryan Harris, what's up, man? Good to see you on this Feelgood Friday. Javion, what's up, man? Appreciate you. So Desmond Claude, keep your head on a swivel. He'll be here, I think, in the weekend, coming from USC. 6'6" combo guard. You've been having we wanted bigger guards. You're getting them, right? Bethea came in from Miami. Desmond Claude, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'll take some calls. Let me get through a couple of my morning segment, then I'll open up the phone line for a little bit. Keep in mind when you do call in, there's probably someone behind you, so get it in. We can have some dialogue, and then we'll move forward. And Brady G's right. I mean, this has been something the Alabama fans have wanted, and I think they've clearly needed it. Now, with that said, I'm sure you guys saw that Mark Sears lighting it up recently. Just a top-end shooter. I mean, he had some of the best numbers at the recent, scouting draft combine or whatever it was. See, man, but I know. And look, if the people from KSR Radio, they have a huge Kentucky fan base, that would be a hell. I got a hell of a topic for you guys to have a call-in show about, and that is, has Alabama basketball surpassed us? Call into the show with a simple yes or no, and they have. So those are the facts. Sorry, Kentucky, but that's true. It must make Kentucky so mad because that is they probably, it would be like if Kentucky football had surpassed Alabama. Alabama fans would be so mad. They could never get past it because the way that Alabama football fans see Kentucky, this will probably piss you off again, Kentucky fans, is less than. Kendrick Law going to Kentucky, that was less than. Right? Like, those are less than programs. That's why the loss to Vanderbilt still hurts to this day, is because that's not even less than. That's like at the bottom. And I get it, college football has changed and Vanderbilt is good now, but that's how we view you. And those are facts. Like, everyone else is pretty much less than. Georgia's up there. Texas is kind of up there. But everybody else, and now with what the basketball program's doing, Nate Oats has done something that hasn't been done here, I don't think, ever. And I get it. There's a lot of different coaches out there, but that have done great things here at Alabama basketball, but not like Nate Oats. And that might make people historically mad, but that's the truth. Nate Oats is the best basketball coach that has ever coached at Alabama basketball. I'm not a historian. I'd be curious to see what the great Cecil Hurt would have to say about that. R.I.P. to the greatest Alabama reporter ever. But in the game has changed, and it's hard to compare historical times, right? Because everything is so different. But from X's and O's and like what's happening right now, Nate Oats is top 5 coach in college basketball? Yeah, Kentucky Law, yeah. And look, one of the things that hurt with basketball, and I'll admit it, was Modia Bate going to Kentucky. That hurt. But I recently heard an interview with Nick Kelly of AL.com talking about it was about the bag. Modia Bate is damn good, and that was a hell of a pickup for Kentucky. He is outstanding in every shape or form, and I think he would have contributed once again, and that guy is a baller. Losing him sucked. Kentucky paid him, which is good for Modia Bate. Business-wise, that made sense. Modia Bate is a baller. Like, he's probably, out of the transfers from football and basketball, losing him is a big deal. So I want to ask you something. I saw some feedback earlier inside the comment box on why Coach Saban retired. Why do you think that he retired? I'm sure if you're not an Alabama football fan, this is what you're going to say. He retired because he couldn't control the payment and it was too competitive for him, and so he left. I think if you're an Alabama fan, that's why I'm asking you, like, why do you think that he retired? Coach Saban says that it's his age and he didn't feel he was giving back to the program. Coach Saban, we've seen more Coach Saban now than we've ever seen. And he says it's his age, but he looks amazing. This is the best I've ever seen Coach Saban look in my life. He said that he likes to work. I mean, he's getting landscape. CJ says landscape. Sean Lilly says he's 70. He's making what? Maybe like 5 times more than what he made as a head football coach, which is crazy. Plus, Alabama is still paying him monthly $500,000. Or is it, I think it's yearly. Is it yearly or monthly? Whatever the case is, I mean, he built Tuscaloosa. Straight up. I mean, the economy and these home prices here in this city still go off Coach Saban. I mean, and let's face it, he was having to coach the entire defense too. Yearly, that's what I thought. I was like, is he really making $6 million a year? Yeah. I was like, that would be crazy. I don't know. I mean, paying whatever, but yeah. Yeah, $500,000 yearly. There you go. That makes more sense. Let's see, what is that? That's yeah, that's a lot of cheddar. But he built this place. Yeah, a cool $41,000 a year. Yeah, for sure. Think about, I mean, if you've been here and you've seen everything from here, and let's not make believe land that this is just because, you know, Tuscaloosa's this, you know, dream destination and people want to come. Saban built the damn place. He built a city by himself with the success, you know, of all the people underneath him, and he's always going to say the organization. But this man built Tuscaloosa, period. He built a city. Remember that book, The Girl Who Owns the City? Well, there should be another book, the city that a goat built. I know there's fans on here that are fans of Alabama football because of the success that Coach Saban had. Plus, if you listen to Coach Saban, it's hard not to be a fan of him because of who he is and the wisdom that he has. All right. Where was it? So Lincoln Riley, I guess I don't have a graphic of him. By the way, this is our shirt that we're doing. We got Chad and Patriot Life in Venmo, Bama _YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube, $10 to get in, up to 3 opportunities. And then we'll spin the pinwheel, you know, later on today, or we'll carry it over to Monday. But I think this is fire. This is straight fire. Patriot Life, you could be all camo like Ty Simpson if you got the camo hat, the camo shirt. I'm in camo right now. Oh, Javion Smith's also in. Javion, thanks, brother. Javion Smith. All right, so Lincoln Riley, it was just released that Lincoln Riley is making $11.5 million. Did you see this? 11.5. So then I was like, damn, well, what has he done at USC? So I dove into the numbers. And USC is private, right? So you never like, he's probably actually, and this is, I think, from a year or two ago. So he's probably making more money. Steven Sanders, what's up, man? Good morning. Wake and bake and Bama football. Oh, man. You do you, bro. Look, so but Steven, sound off on Lincoln Riley. Do you think he's making too much money? I mean, if you are USC and you have unlimited money, look at this. All right, so 2002, okay, yeah. 11-3, that's good. 8-1, you lose in the Cotton Bowl. Okay. 2023, 8-5, 5-4, go to the Holiday Bowl, staying at the Holiday Inn. And in 2024, last year, 7-6, 4-5, and you went from the Holiday Inn to the Excalibur. Who's been to the Excalibur before? Has anybody stayed at the Excalibur before? Has anybody stayed at the Circus? Has anybody stayed at the Luxor? You know what? I have never stayed at the Circus. I've never stayed at the Luxor. I've been to each of those places, but I have stayed at the Luxor. This is many years ago. But Lincoln Riley went from the Holiday Inn to the Excalibur last season. Completely $11.5 million for that. Hey, Raphael, what's up, bro? Coming to us from Long Island. That's what's up. Melon Jesus has stayed at the Excalibur. That's what's up, man. Yeah. The roller coasters at the Circus are good, man. But the best roller coaster, I think, in Vegas is at the New York. All right, so it doesn't look like anybody stayed at the Excalibur besides you, bro. Oh, Dwight stayed at the Stratosphere. That's good. I never stayed at the Stratosphere. I've never even been up to the top. Planet Hollywood used to be, they used to have like this incredible mall. It's kind of gone a little bit down now that you have like all these malls, in these hotels, like shoot, at the Caesars. Dude, the Caesars or the Bellagio, all those places, incredible, bro. Raphael, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right, let's take some calls. I'm pretty much open today. So, it's your show. Whatever you want to talk about is cool with me. Be respectful to the people that are calling behind you. This is our raffle today. Bama_YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube, $10 to get in. I know West Coast, and I heard that they might tear down the Excalibur. Is that true? They probably, man, I get it. It's iconic, but they probably need to do a redo. You go into that casino, you're like flipping a coin, and playing rock, paper, scissors. You stayed at the Orleans? Yeah. B-class motel. Remember the Tropicana? Man, my uncle lives in Henderson. So I used to go to Las Vegas, Nevada, not to gamble and all that stuff, but I just went there. I'm from New Mexico. It's not, If you go there, stay at the Green Valley Ranch. That's out in Henderson. It's super nice. All right. Call line is open, 205-850-1994. You want to call in? You want to tell me your best hotel from Vegas? Do it. You want to talk about the Green Valley Ranch? Do it. You stayed at the Fiesta? Do it. You want to talk Alabama football? Do it. You want to talk Alabama basketball? Do it. I just want you to have a really good time on your Friday. All right, John, what's up, man? I got you in the raffle too, bro. John. All right, we got a couple people calling in. And when you call in, just have a good time. All right. We got a 973. We got Chris from New Jersey. Hey, Chris, what's up, man? Appreciate you being here.
Kyle.
Yo, what's up,
Friday,
man?
Brother.
Happy Friday.
So, I want to just chit-chat about Saban. So, and listen, you and I talk about this often. People come to Bama for a bag. People leave Alabama, unfortunately, for a bag. So, let's get to the nitty-gritty on Saban a little bit. He was making $11 million for a, we all know, for a 24/7, 365-day-a-year job, which he did the best in history, GOAT. And I read yesterday, so ESPN is paying him $16 million a year for Saturdays where he can get in a private plane and fly to about Bama game at night most of the time. He does a little bit of work in the studio during the week, and then of course when the playoffs start, they do. So how many days is that, Kyle? I mean, is that like 30 days, 1 month of work for $16 million?
Yeah, he
said that his endorsement, all these these commercials with the Verbo and everything, and the one with Coach Prime, that's another 10. They said 10. So and then they said other, and they put other. It said investments in his car dealerships 5. So $31 million with no trips, no recruiting trips, no going to offer money to people in their living rooms to beg for their kid to come to Bama. Which, listen, any coach that does that, I appreciate you. We all do it undefeated. If you got to go in there and grovel to get Ryan Williams, grovel, because we need Ryan Williams, right? So listen, we call that, we sometimes we say to the players are here for a bag, Saban, and you and I are golfers, golf fans. Let me tell you something about Saban's swing the other day. It looked a lot better than it used to, and so obviously he's been playing a lot of golf, Kyle. I'll say this. I don't know if you saw. Did you see Kirby Smart tee off? He had a pretty good looking. I don't want my coach to have a good looking golf swing, Kyle. I want my coach to be out on recruiting. Kirby Smart, he got up and buried one down the middle. I was like, that's not good.
Yeah.
What's that guy been playing Augusta or something?
Yeah, Kirby can play. I think a couple of those coaches can play, and Saban can play. But I think kind of getting to it, I mean, Saban has lived life and played life on a chess level, right? And, at this age where he's gotten to, and I think a lot of it had to do with the lack of infrastructure now in college football, but also, it kind of just, a lot of life is about timing, and he got to the age where he was like, okay, look, I can do a lot of different things. And I do honestly feel that he is such a hard worker and an overworker that at 72, you just can't do what you've done in your 30s or 40s or 50s and your 60s. You can't. Your body just can't take it. And I kind of go back to that one instance where his eye blew up, and he said it was kind of, a lot of people, if you talk to medical professions, they said that could be a sign of high blood pressure. Chris, do you need to get that? Someone knocking at the door? Is that the boss?
My wife just rolled in.
Is that Tony?
Said, what are you doing?
Is that Tony Soprano in the back? Is that Tony calling in? Man, we better let you get.
I need to make a payment.
Yeah, you better make that payment, bro.
I used to love hotel-wise. I used to love the hotel.
Huh?
Which was over. That was over by. I haven't been to Vegas in a while. That's a good thing, Kyle.
I think you might. I think that might be in Atlantic City, bro. You might be just going south down to Atlantic City.
Oh yeah,
I
want to go. So Kyle, we got to start planning for the season, because I'm definitely coming to at least one game.
Okay.
And you got to talk to the undefeated. We got to have a meet and greet, and meet up, go eat some barbecue, go walk around, do something. I'm dying to see all our peeps. I love our undefeated. So
yeah.
The good thing is we got a lot of time, but not that much time. Sooner, it's going to blink an eye, Kyle. You're going to be like, first practice.
Yeah.
So, let's get this. We'll start planning this at some point. So, listen, thank you for what you do. Great show.
Yep.
Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Watch some PGA Championship if we get a sec. My best to you. My best to the undefeated. Roll Tide. Bro.
All right, man. Roll Tide to you. All right, Chris out in New Jersey. We go back to 256. Let's get it going. 256. What's up, man? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Bama Prowse calling from Huntsville, Alabama.
What's up, Bama Prowse? I appreciate you being here, man. What you got? What's on your mind lately? We've been going over a couple topics. We'll look at the trending board, man, but you're always a good caller, man. So welcome on in. I know you're probably getting late to the school year, but what's up, man? Good to hear from you. Welcome on to the show.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. It's good school today because they got field day. And, man, just, I'm about to graduate middle school in a couple of days. And field day, it just ain't what it used to be. It's just, well, when you get, in the bigger grades of my school, you don't really even get that much of field day unless you're helping with the little kids.
This is interesting because for me, field day was like a day that you looked forward to from the first day of school. And to me, where I grew up, field day was basically like the Olympics, right? You got to figure out who was the fastest of the school. You had what was the sack, the potato sack that you got into? You had relays. So, this is sad. what is field day now? Why are we skipping field day? Like, I don't like this. What type of events are we doing? Are we doing events, or has that been canceled? What's happening at field day?
It's just, well, like, it's not just me. Just like, no one really like when you get older, just like people start to take field day less serious. Like, and it's just people don't get excited for it, and they don't, cause like they used to make it excited. Like, just like you said, it felt like playoffs, Olympics. You would get medals for this. Now it's just so boring. It's like, if I describe it, it's literally like the NFL Pro Bowl or the NBA All-Star game. They used to take this so serious because you put the best against the best, and now, like, no one tries for it anymore. They're just letting you do what you want. It's not. It doesn't bring excitement once it once used to. Like,
dude,
you said,
the field day. Look, sound off inside the comment box. Remember when you were growing up, field day used to be like the iconic day, and that was like the best thing. Yeah, no, Derek, we're talking about field day. He skipped field day, and which you thought exactly, Ebony, that we used to have, and this is kind of like ties into life, like where we're at, because field day was like the day where you found out who the top dog was, and now we're missing field day. Life is off balance. All right, what else you got, Bama Pros, man? What's on your mind, Alabama football, basketball related, man? Come with it.
All right, I want to talk about football. More importantly, the first game, because I know you've heard this already, but first game's at 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. I'm Central Time, so. What is your take on just Alabama just going into, I think, Doak Campbell Stadium? Just, I'm on TikTok. I see all these Florida State fans saying they're going to shock the world and knock off Alabama week 1. But I'm not even trying to be cocky or nothing. I just don't see it. Their quarterback sucks, just saying. Their running back room ain't nothing special. They did get a couple nice receivers. But, I mean, look at we have the best DB room in the nation. And I'm confident in that. We have nothing but 5-stars. And then their O-line, I don't know if they're going to be put together really. And their D-line, they lost all their good D-linemen to the draft or just transfers. Like, the team overall just falling apart. I know they had a great portal class and recruiting. I guess it went okay. But we saw what they did last year after they went 13-1. They had one of the best portal classes, and they went 2-10, and they had another good portal class. So, Florida State will be a little better this year. They'll win more than 2 games, but I don't see them getting back to like where they used to be as far as win the ACC. And all these Florida State fans like to cry about we got something from the playoffs, but now when they lose to Alabama week 1 at home, they can't blame the playoff committee now. So like, how do you think Alabama's going to approach the game is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. Jarvis, good to see you inside the comment box. I think when you're looking at Florida State, Alabama, I think what will really happen is Alabama will dominate Florida State. What does that mean? Well, I think they cover that 11.5, 12.5, and who knows how the opening quarters go, but, it kind of takes a little bit of time to get going. But I think roster-wise, the line is telling you what's going to happen. And I think it's going to continue to climb. I would imagine by the time we get closer to this game, Alabama's probably just a straight up like 2-touchdown favorite. And I think a lot has to do with the defense and a lot has to do with Ryan Grubb and, Ty Simpson and all this stuff. But I think like if you're playing devil's advocate, and I've talked about this before, I mean, you do have Gus Malzahn. You are playing on the road. It is at 2:30. It will be hot as hell down in Tallahassee. And look, this is Mike Norvell. This is like one of his, I don't know if it's his last stand, but this is a time for him to kind of get back, Florida State onto the map. And Alabama cannot overlook this game. I don't think they will. I think this team will be dialed in and understands kind of what's at stake. A loss to Florida State would be like, this is scary to think about, but this is the truth. If Alabama lost to Florida State, I don't know if it would be – I don't even know if you can recover from early season losses. If you're going to lose in college football, lose early. But if you lost to Florida State, if Alabama goes down and loses to Florida State, they won't recover. I'm serious. That's how bad it will be. That won't happen. They'll beat Florida State. I think a lot will have to do with their just unequipped to deal with what's coming from an offensive standpoint, right? So super interesting game. I know the time just recently came out, 2:30 Central Time. Game will be on ABC. We'll have to see what happens. But I think Alabama will get past Florida State. And even if you look at like War Chant and you look to Florida State's message board, they understand that this is a tall task. This wasn't the last time that they played the Mercedes Stadium, Florida State fans were like Georgia fans. They were like, we're going to beat Alabama. I don't think there's an overwhelming force that thinks realistically that they can beat Alabama, but you got to be able to do it. So, anything else, bro, before I move on to my next caller?
Yeah, what is your look on just Alabama offensively, I guess you could say? It's like, we all know, I mean, they ain't announced it yet because they want the competition to keep getting better, but we all know Ty Simpson will be QB1, Jen Miller probably running back 1, and then we got Bernard, Williams, and then Horton. So, like, what's your look on the offense this year and just, like, the team overall? Like, you think they're more locked in, which I think they are. I think, Kalen DeBoer, like, last year was just hell, first year, because he had good resources, but he started off so rocky. And those are times where you're supposed to – that's times where, like, you're supposed to get better, and he's just getting settled in. Like, really, I don't even think Kalen DeBoer will fully settle in after year 1. And now I think this is a good year to really just get settled in, calm, full collective, and just, we got our OC now. Defense is going to be way better and more consistent because they're more experienced. Like, they're dialed into the system now. So if you had to give Alabama a record, what would you give them? And if they lose a game, which consider our schedule's hard, we probably will. Who do you think we will lose to?
Well, I think from an offensive perspective, I think the Alabama, you'll see a lot of utilization of these wide receivers, I think, under 15 yards, and I think you just get the ball to the guys and let them do their thing. And I think we keep talking about the wide receivers, but we can't lose sight of the running backs and how I think the running backs will be utilized. I just don't know if it'll be it seems to me like it'll be a running back by committee, and I think the running game will really get going early on in a game like this against Florida State. Jan Miller is completely slept on, right, as we continue to talk about. And, I mean, Richard Young, who knows what he's going to do? My goodness. I think when I look to Alabama's schedule overall, who are the teams that they could lose to, I'm taking Alabama to win more than that 9.5 games. So I think they'll win 10 games. If they lose games this year, I could see them losing to Auburn, right? Just on that, who knows? Like that's like a 50-50 game, right? Maybe even like 60-40 Auburn. That's just how it is. And I've just learned that living here. It doesn't matter how much better Alabama is. We all know this. I don't have to explain that. And then the other game, I think the South Carolina one will be ultra challenging, but that could come at a good time where it kind of propels Alabama to regroup and finish out the season strong. The Georgia one is certainly scary. And then I wouldn't sleep on, I know J.D. Piquel for On 3 has been really high in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's good, but I just don't see Alabama losing a home game. They play Tennessee at home, they play LSU at home, they play Oklahoma at home. I think this team is still going to be tough to hand. LSU at home. I don't see them losing home games. It's just that away schedule is tough, man. But I appreciate you calling in, man. Thanks for rocking with me, man. And I appreciate the call.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
All right, Roll Tide to you, man. All right, 678. Let's do it. All right, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Randy from Loganville, Georgia, one-time caller.
Hey, Randy, I appreciate
morning,
you.
Kyle.
Yeah, morning. Thank you very much for calling from You say Loganville?
Yep, Loganville.
All right, Loganville, GA.
About 30 miles west of Athens.
All right, you're in almost in enemy territory. Are you an Alabama fan or you're a Georgia fan?
Oh, don't insult me that way. I'm a diehard Bama fan.
All right, I just wanted to see if I had to play some defense on the call. But all right, Randy calling in from Loganville. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Enemy territory, behind enemy lines. Come with it, Randy.
I was a Bama fan before you were born.
Fair enough.
You've talked about this before, and I got two major concerns with the upcoming season this year. We've talked about Ty throwing for over 3,500 yards, and you did a graph or a chart that all the receivers would be, how many yards they would catch for. You did not add the running backs in there.
Yep.
And how many passes they're going to catch,
yep,
which would bump that figure way on up, I think. But here's one of my concerns, and you've talked about this a lot. Ty doesn't have time to throw the ball, it's off or not.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line is the heartbeat of any offense. They have got to step it up and block these guys. He's got to have time to throw the ball, and they got to open up holes for these running backs to run the ball.
Mm.
So that's one of my concerns. The other concern is something that I haven't heard hardly anything about, and this can win a game or lose a game in one play, and that is the kicking game. That is my biggest concern is our punter and kicker. I haven't heard a whole lot about them. I hope they do well. But, I'm really worried about that part.
Yeah, me too. On the line with Randy calling in from Loganville. You're absolutely right. I have the graphic you're talking about on the screen, and you bring up a good point. These are the wide receivers. This comes out to 4,100 total yards. It doesn't add a tight end, right? We know that Josh Cuevas is going to catch, for over 300 yards. And then it doesn't add Jam Miller or any running back. And the running backs are at least going to catch for 200 yards. That's 500 more yards. We're over that 4,500 threshold for the entire season. So, yeah, good point. So I think when you're talking about, will Ty Simpson throw for 3,500 yards? Probably, but we got to also remember Keelan Russell's going to get opportunities, so is Austin Mack in different game situations. So you probably take the over 4,500 for the entire season. I think that you bring up the thing that scares me the most about this team, and it's the special teams. Nobody will talk about that, Randy, because not a lot of people have knowledge on special teams. To most people, in my opinion, football is offense, defense, and coaching. But the most critical component is that third component of a game, and if you've coached at any level, junior high, high school, college, NFL, if you do not have an A+ special teams game, you are going to lose games, period. You are going can you imagine being Connor Talty? Never, who knows if they'll even need him in these first couple of games to kick a field goal, right? Alabama should be able to get into the red zone, score touchdowns, whatever. You're telling me a guy who has never kicked in a game, you go on Athens and the score is 24-24, and this guy has to kick a 52-yard field goal at Athens at Sanford Stadium. That's scary. You're telling me if Georgia pins Alabama deep and Alabama has to punt into the shadow of their own end zone, and you have a punter who's never punted before, in a long snapper who's never been in that situation before, those are things that are sometimes unrecoverable because special teams, it's such a critical point. Now, returners, you're great. Alabama, put Ryan Williams back there, Jalen Mbakwe, who the hell cares? But I agree with you. Field goal kickers, snappers, punters, we have no idea and zero experience.
Yeah, I was a kicker in high school, so I know what it feels like to be in those situations, and I can just imagine what it would be like on the college level with 100,000 people screaming at you.
Yeah.
It's got to be unreal.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave you with this thought. It's just some food for thought, something to think about. Open up the comment box to everybody occasionally.
Uh-huh.
There's been so many times that I've wanted to comment on something, but couldn't because I'm not a member. I'm retired on a fixed income. And I've left emails or comments in the regular side, but all I ever get is that, Kyle Henderson loved your comments. So, just some food for thought.
Yeah, well,
hope we have a good season. One last thing is, this is for your daily devotional.
Yeah.
We're not promised tomorrow.
Yep.
We don't know what's going to happen. We all got high hopes that we do great. God forbid that some of these players could get hurt in summer camp, fall practice, whatever. But, we're just not promised tomorrow.
That's right.
And all we can do is hope for the best. So God bless you. I love your show. I listen to you almost every day. And roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you, Randy. Thank you so much. I appreciate the compliments on the show, and we'll catch up with you next time. Thanks for calling in. All right, that was Randy calling in from Loganville, Georgia, enemy territory. All right, 737, let's do it. All right, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hello, Kyle. This is Mike in Austin.
Mike, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in. Welcome to the show. Mike in Austin. This is like year 3.0 for Mike, and we went from Loganville, Georgia to Austin, Texas, man. So, Mike, what's up, man? Come with it.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for taking my call. Hey, Matt, like you said, Florida State is almost a must-win game.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why this Bama team, they never found their identity last year. That was the biggest problem. Other than O-line play, they never found their identity. And this team has to find its identity. And if we lose that Florida State game, it's just going to set us back 3 or 4 more weeks going into SEC play and the Wisconsin game. But I think we're a better team than Florida State. I think we're a better team than last year. Just because we're going to have more stability. We didn't have many transfers. We're going to have more stability. We got Ryan Grubb calling the plays now and not this first-year offensive coordinator with Milroe. And, we're past the Milroe game. As skeptical as I was about Milroe, it was the O-line play as well, like the last guy said. So, but this team, the biggest problem last year, we never found our way other than complete chaos in college football, period. It was a chaotic year across the board, but our team never found its identity. We never found an offensive identity. And when our offense did click a little bit, it seems like our defense slipped. So with that being said, man, I think we will be a better team. And with that being said, that's why I think Florida State is a must-win game for us.
100%. I mean, and it's terrifying to think what would happen if you lose that game, right? It's like, my goodness, you lose that game, I don't think you'd ever be able to recover from it. Seriously, especially to where, like, we see Florida State right now. We see Florida State like a middle-of-the-road type team, probably even less than that considering what happened last year. So I don't think it'll happen, but who knows? I mean, games on the road last year were not Alabama's thing, right? Steve Taylor's asking, Kyle, do we have a solution at right tackle? Yeah, well, I think what Coach Kalen DeBoer has emphasized is that Wilcom Formby has taken major steps forward. So until we actually see it, we just kind of have to believe it from Coach Kalen DeBoer. What else you got, Mike?
Well, also I think we do have some of the best skill players in college football. Like, for instance, I think Ryan Williams is the best player in college football. Even as bad as we were last year, as bad as Milroe was at times, well, Ryan Williams still put up almost 900 yards. And just think back to some of these awesome one-man plays that he had. Like, he's the reason we won the Georgia game, basically, with that last major play he had. But like I said, I think it will be better. But real quick, something you talked on earlier, I will be surprised. Nate Oats. I mean, I'll be surprised if he's here in 3 years. And the reason why, that just seems to be the pattern of college basketball coaches, is they're in and out pretty quick. And Kyle, I know it sounds cliche, but Bama's not a basketball school. You look at other schools like St. John's, Georgetown, Villanova, UCLA, that are solely basketball schools. Yeah. So I can see somebody making him an offer he can't refuse, or I can say we struggling a little bit and then him wanting to leave or so. But I know we're doing good in basketball right now, but I think it's going to be hard to sustain, and I would not be surprised if he did move on within 3 years. But anyway, we're a football school, man, and the Florida State must-win game, Kyle. But, hey, good talking to you. Keep up the good YouTube channel, and talk to you again soon, man.
All right, appreciate it, bro. Thanks for calling in. Good to hear from you, Mike. Mike calling out in Austin. I appreciate it. 912, we'll take it right now. Hey, thanks for making the show. I appreciate you calling in. You're on the line with Kyle. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Matthew Newton, and like the caller a few minutes ago, I'm deep behind enemy lines in Nicholas, Georgia.
All right.
Which you probably never heard of because it's tiny, but...
All right, Matthew Newton, we got some people calling in from behind enemy lines. What's up, Matthew? I appreciate you calling in, man, and thanks for the support, man. Come with it.
Yes, sir. I think, I want to go back to the statement you showed earlier on the screen with Kirby Smart about freshmen getting paid more money than seniors. Look, man, that's just how football's going right now. Look, 10 years ago, a player autographs a ball or a hat or something and he gets paid for it, it's going to be major consequences. Now, they get paid to do that. They're expected to do that. College football is changing, man. I think I've seen, and it's not just college. I think I've seen Ted Ginn. I'm pretty sure it was him. I may be mistaken. He was giving an interview on the difference in the money that's in football now versus when he played. You know, a third-round pick signing bonus, it would have been a massive contract for those guys back then when they played. You know, the guys, you know, you showed the money that Tyler Booker and some of these guys are getting. Their signing bonuses would have been record-breaking contracts back when.
Yeah.
So, you know, as far as Kirby Smart's concerned, I get where he's coming from, and I get seniority, and I get, you know, respecting the players that have been there and worked for, you know, 3 to 4 years and put in the work for your team, and I get that. But I think it's something you just have to understand, man, that it's different now. It's not the same as it was. You know, and that's just how it's going to be. Probably looking forward in 5 or 10 years, the money that these guys are getting paid now is going to look small. I mean, think about it. Josh Allen signed a $330 million contract in the NFL. 20 years ago, the whole roster probably wasn't even worth $330 million. So, you know, the sport's changing, it's evolving, and I think, you know, you're either going to have to adjust to that or you're just going to have to get left behind. I mean, we've seen it with Dabo Swinney and Clemson. They were up there for 2 to 3 years right there in the title, beat us a few times. And now all of a sudden they're, you know, Cade Klubnik has a lot of potential, I feel like. You know, whether he has the weapons around him to produce to his level, we'll have to wait and find out. But if you're not going to play the NIL game, you're not going to play much competitive football with the schools that are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Good comments, Matthew. Anything else kind of when you look to, you know, going into this season that you wanted to get on the show?
Yeah, I think moving forward, I think there's major, not really speculation, but I think there's some people that are underestimating Kai Simpson. Look, this guy was, I believe, number 3, number 4 quarterback in his class. Coming out, number 1 dual threat quarterback out of Martin, Tennessee, 5-star quarterback. And, you know, I've heard some guys say the fact that he stayed and hasn't transferred shows that he's not any good. I think it shows that he has heart for the school and that this is where he wants to be. And that to me means a lot because that's very, very rare in college sports nowadays. But I do think the addition of Ryan Grubb is going to be huge, not only just for, you know, think about it. Now you have a guy who has offensive coordinator level experience and did it at a decently fair level that's just coaching your quarterbacks in Nick Sheridan. And then a guy like Ryan Grubb who can come in and be the OC and play caller. I think this is a much better staff, but more than anything, I think Kalen DeBoer in particular has a little bit more of a firm grip on the team this year. And I think that will make the biggest difference. I kind of feel like when he came in year 1, it was the same thing at Washington. You know, there was such a huge roster turnover, and Jalen Milroe in particular, at some times last year, I kind of felt like he owed him the playing time because of what he did to hold the team together. And look, I am a huge Jalen Milroe supporter. You know, usually I don't watch anything after the first round of the draft, but I watch till the third to watch him get drafted. I mean, you know, I love him, respect him, everything he did for the school, and obviously gave us a lot of great memories, but I do feel like at times last year it wouldn't have hurt to put in another guy and just see what happened, change the dimension a little bit, you know, change some things around. But I kind of feel like he felt like I owe this guy to let him play. You know, he's been here 4 years. I can't really bench him. I'm a first-year head coach. But I feel like this year, and we've seen the quote from Rock Montgomery, I just feel like the biggest difference this year is it's Kalen DeBoer's team. Now he's got his recruits in there. The guys who want to leave have left. I mean, we had massive transfer portal exodus. And now looking at the roster that didn't have anybody transfer, I think it shows a culture buy-in. I think it shows that Kalen DeBoer is the owner of this team now. And I think it's going to be huge moving forward, especially when you get in those late SEC, you know, week 9 games, you know, when you're down the stretch. It's really good to have a guy who's in firm control of the leadership, and I think that'll make a big difference.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, man. Thanks for calling in, Matthew.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you, bro. Yeah, good call. If I didn't get to you today, I apologize. But Bama Hater wanted me to answer something. So I'll do that before I bounce out. This is the thing, because Bama Hater says this. Kyle, will you answer this on air? If Bama is in the middle of the road team, what are they? Didn't they finish fourth or whatever in the SEC? Yeah, you're right. But I think kind of the way that I see Alabama going into the season and why they're not a middle of the road team is anytime you have somebody as dialed in as Josh Pate, who, let's face it, there's nobody better doing it right now from a college football analyst standpoint than Josh Pate himself, right? The guy's worked tremendously hard to get to where he's at and has an amazing product. And I think he has probably the best pulse on college football at the given moment, right? He talks to all the coaches. He goes out and sees stuff. So it's hard for me to, like, obviously I cover Alabama football, so I'm going to say, they're a top team. But I do feel that they're going to be a top team. I have them winning over 10 games. But when somebody as highly respected and credentialed like this has them in the early top 5, this is the only real analyst that I've seen have Alabama in the top 5. And I think it's more than just kind of a gas up. I think he understands that, just like Matthew was saying, going into year 2, the tracks have been laid. And I think compounded onto that, you added the best offensive coordinator to come to Alabama since Steve Sarkisian. You have a hell of a defense coming back. So a lot of that, makes for Alabama not necessarily just being a really good team. I think they have the makings to be, a top-end team again this year. The only downside, and the thing that scares me, is just the Alabama football has such a tough schedule. And I think, you can be labeled a middle-tier team if you don't make the playoffs, but not all schedules are the same and not all conferences are the same. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a big difference, let's face it, between playing in the ACC where Miami plays compared to where Alabama plays. And I'd be curious to see if Miami played the same schedule as Alabama this season or even last season, where where Miami would really be. I think Miami, honestly, in the SEC would be a complete afterthought. And I get it. They have a lot of money. They just landed the top prospect. Mario Cristobal is a great guy. But honestly, I don't think that Miami would have finished in the top 6 or 7 in the SEC last year. And the same thing this year. I think if Miami was to join the SEC, they would be literally like an afterthought. So, but I appreciate you guys joining in today's show. Thank you so much for all the contributions. If I didn't get to you on the phone, don't hold it against me. It's just, we're pressed against time. We will roll our, let me show the shirt one more time. We'll roll it into our next show. So thank you so much for the contributions. I got Patriot Live, Chad Kennedy twice, Javion, John, and thank you for the Venmo, Steve, just for the thank you. I really appreciate that. Let me show you one more time, and I'll post it inside the community tab. So this is $10 to get in, limit 3 tries for the raffle. We'll roll it into our next show, but this is the shirt that we're rocking with. So $10 to enter, Bama_YouTube on Venmo, Cash App. Portion of that goes back to the Tuscaloosa Soup Kitchen right here in beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I appreciate you guys rocking with me today on Bama Football on YouTube. Stay blessed. Enjoy your life. Have fun. Enjoy the weekend. It is Feelgood Friday in the summertime. So go out and live your best life. You better do it. Check out the men's devotional if you're into that. If not, give a roll tide inside the comment box. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Stay where your feet are at. Stay blessed. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on Friday, May 16th. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam.